Content warning. Episodes of Grey Matter may contain themes and depictions of extreme mental illness, traumatic bodily harm, and death. If you aren't in the right headspace to engage with those depictions right now, maybe this episode should wait for another time. Otherwise, proceed with caution.
Hey there, welcome back to Grey Matter. Hot one today, huh? This place has been packed with people trying to beat the heat. And not just because I sabotaged the coolant systems for the rest of the plaza. As the world around us churns up to a steady boil, both literally and politically, I find there's no limit to the profit that can be made by selling people a way to cool off and disconnect. It's refreshing to watch an old movie and pretend it was from a simpler time, as though the problems of the past haven't withered, died, and bloomed again as often as perennials. And we may even be able to trick ourselves into believing it. But the modern citizen must beware. To disengage from the present and to treat the past as a world without history itself is a hazard, because the world we live in today was built by the actions and inactions of our ancestors. Here, I think this tape will show you what I mean, and hopefully help keep you cool as the world burns around you. It's a classic morality tale. Not scary exactly, but necessary. It's called Cool Air, and it's about two axiomatic truths, both so universal that they may be cliché. One, that all that bad men require is for good men to do nothing, and two, that those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Cool Air. Written and directed by Jonathan Inbody, and adapted from the short story of the same name by H.P. Lovecraft.
As soon as his boot connected with my chin, I could taste blood. Before I could react, he grabbed me by the collar and pulled me to my feet, then tossed me down face first onto the pavement. My hands almost burned on the sun-baked asphalt as I started to slowly crawl away, wiping blood from my mouth, and after a few seconds I turned my head to look back at my pursuers. The bigger of the two was close behind me, casually strolling forward as he reached for his handcuffs. Past him, his partner was barking into a radio, no doubt calling for backup.
You want my advice, kid? Stop resisting. It's bad for your health. Besides, it's too goddamn hot out here for me to chase you today.
I didn't do anything.
No? Then show me a green card.
Fuck you!
Maya Ramirez, you're being detained. You do not have the right to remain silent. You do not have the right to an attorney, and one will not be provided for you. In fact, you've got no rights in this country at all.
He reached down to grab my wrist, and I rolled to one side, then sprang up to my feet and started running. I could hear him charging after me, yelling for his partner to follow. I ducked into a narrow alley and pulled a garbage can over behind me, then sprinted towards the open street at the other end. Suddenly, a black SUV swung wide and blocked the opening. There was their backup. I turned and shouldered my way through a rusted door into an abandoned building, then ran through and burst out into another alley on the other side. Shit! They were right behind me, and I was running out of places to hide. I looked back and forth at the tightly packed rundown buildings surrounding me. There had to be somewhere I can go. Something to do. Help! Somebody! Help me! Ayúdame! I looked up to see an open window a few floors above me. A stern-faced man with a thin goatee peered down from inside, his round black sunglasses almost gleaming in the blinding sunlight. At the edges of his windows I could see patches of ice, and as he stared, billows of thin fog rolled out from behind him and drifted down into the alley. I need your help! Please! It's La Migra! Ice! The man frowned slightly, then ducked back into his apartment and closed his window. My shoulders slumped and I sighed, finally resigning myself to the slow, awful death I've been afraid of for so long. At least, no one could say I hadn't tried. I turned to look at the end of the alley as the sirens got closer, then put my hands up in anticipation of an oncoming arrest. Maybe if I was lucky, they wouldn't break any bones until later. I turned my head to look behind me, where a small brass key had just dropped into the alley. Above me, the stern-faced man pointed at the key, then over to a heavy metal door on my right.
Venga! Rápido!
I grabbed the key and frantically unlocked the door, struggling against its weight to pull it open as the sirens approached. The room inside was pitch black. I hesitated, wondering if I could trust the man upstairs, then decided I didn't have much of a choice. Suddenly, a firm hand clamped down onto my shoulder and I jumped, whirling around to come face to face with the ICE agent's short, stocky partner. He kneed me in the stomach and I stumbled back into the dark room, where I bumped into a piece of rotten furniture and toppled over to the bare concrete floor. The agent rushed towards me, a metal baton extended in one hand, and as he lunged down to grab me, I kicked my legs up to meet him. My feet collided with his belt line and he flipped forward, smashing through an old table next to me, and for a few tense seconds, I waited for him to get up and attack me again. He didn't move. Clutching my stomach, I slowly got to my feet and walked over to him as my eyes adjusted to the dark. He must have fallen harder than I thought. Underneath him, shattered bits of his radio buzzed and sparked, and a dark bruise on the side of his head was starting to ooze blood. I scanned the room around me. The building was old and run down, with rotted furniture and mildew-ridden boxes scattered across the bare floor. At the far end of the room, a wooden staircase led up to the second floor. Underneath it, an ancient, sprawling machine stretched back into the corner, with sections of rusted old machinery surrounded by crisscrossing pipes.
¿Quién eres? ¿Qué deseas?
What? Oh, I don't speak much Spanish. Do you speak English? Inglés?
Sí. Who are you? What are you doing here?
There's a man down here. I think he's dead. After a few seconds of silence, I heard uneven footsteps from above me. I watched as two shoes and a silver cane emerged at the top of the stairs, then were joined by a pair of tailored pants, a tucked-in button-down shirt covered by a thin vest, and finally, the familiar face of my strange-looking host. His bluish-brown skin almost glowed in the dark, and I couldn't tell what he was thinking from behind his dark glasses. As I stood waiting, he raised an eyebrow and looked me over.
Where is the man? The dead man?
I pointed over to the unmoving ICE agent. My host nodded, then continued down the stairs and walked over to me, breathing heavily as white fog spread into the room from the stairs behind him. My name is Maya, I'm on the run.
I know. From La Migra. But you don't speak Spanish?
Just what I've picked up. My mother brought me here when I was a kid, so English has pretty much just been...
English is a language of brutes and colonists. I resent being made to speak it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm made to speak it often. America is unkind to foreigners. I'm disappointed, you know. I was looking forward to conversing in my mother's tongue. To be quite frank, hearing it was the only reason I let you in.
He slowly crouched, wincing all the way down, then reached a hand out towards the fallen agent to check his neck for a pulse. After a few seconds, he shook his head and rose back to his feet.
Can you move him?
I'm not sure.
There's a freight elevator next to the stairs. Drag him.
He hobbled back across the room, and I followed, lifting the body's legs and struggling to drag it to the wide metal door he indicated. When we got there, my host stuck out his hand expectantly, then gave me a look when I wasn't sure what he wanted. Suddenly understanding, I reached in my pocket for the brass key and dropped it into his hand. He quickly removed a padlock on the door of the elevator, then pulled it open and gestured for me to put the body inside. I reached down and rolled it in, struggling with the dead weight, and when it was done, I leaned against the staircase and caught my breath.
Are you all right?
Just lightheaded. He's really dead. I killed him.
You're in shock. Go upstairs and sit down. I'll join you in a minute.
I nodded vacantly and started up the stairs, steadying myself on the railing the entire way up. At the top, through another thick metal door, was a small, well-furnished apartment. It couldn't have been more than 10 degrees above freezing inside, and I shivered as I stumbled over to an antique love seat next to an easy chair, record player, and a few tall bookcases. The hardwood floor creaked underneath me, and I looked down, glancing at a strange, dark blue stain smeared across it. I stepped over it and collapsed onto the love seat, then tried to fluff one of the pillows and found it rock hard, almost frozen. After a few minutes, my pale host came up to join me. He struggled to pull the door closed, then hobbled over to the easy chair next to me and plopped down into it, wiping his glistening brow as he breathed heavily in and out. Are you all right?
Old, tired, and overheated. But yes. Do you need a bandage for your face? It's bleeding.
No, I'm all right. It's just a busted lip.
I could get some ice.
I think I've had enough ice for one day, Mr.
Doctor, my dear. Dr. Hector Munoz.
Where are you from? Your accent is, odd. I can't tell.
The decades here have changed it, I'm sure. I'm from Spain. Salamanca, originally.
Do you... They're gonna keep looking for me, aren't they?
No doubt, especially when they realize they're missing one of their own.
Won't you get in trouble for hiding me?
You've seen the building from outside. They'll hardly be able to tell that anyone lives here. And if they come, I'll send them away.
But if they look inside, see the blood?
Already taken care of. If they find us, it won't be because we were careless.
Thank you. You don't have to do this. Put yourself in danger. I mean, I can leave. I should turn myself in. That man, I killed him.
Never cry for fascists, my dear. They'll never cry for you.
But I'm a murderer.
And knowing that, do you think they'll treat you fairly? I think they'll be downright compassionate.
They'll beat me. starve me, or worse. I'll end up in that prison in El Salvador.
The same as they've done to countless innocents. The way men like them always have. Will you consider that justice? You've seen what America does to people who want a better world. They build barbed wire fences at their borders and kidnap those who make it through to be tortured and killed in detention centers. Regardless, right now, you're not in any state to go anywhere. Just wait for their search to move on, and then you can slip back out the way you came. Oh, you're freezing. Would you like me to fetch you a coat?
I can get it. Just point me in the right direction.
The closet is just over there. I can't guarantee what shape they're in. I haven't worn them in a long time. Let me know if it doesn't fit.
It's perfect. Thank you. So, how did a Spanish doctor end up all the way out here?
Here? In America? In Los Angeles? Or in this rather inadequate apartment?
Either or all three?
Well, I dare say I too was on the run.
From what?
Oh, the usual things. Past misdeeds, present surroundings. I'm afraid there was quite a lot of heat on me there.
You don't seem like a man who likes heat.
I'm not.
Then why Los Angeles? Why not Alaska or something?
Well, I always intended to leave, but I had a heart attack only a few weeks after I'd first arrived, and now I'm too weak to travel. I'm sensitive to the sun, the warmth, so I only sit inside my little icebox. I have my books, my records, and whatever else I can have delivered, but I can rarely go outside.
I don't think I'd be able to survive being cooped up like that.
Oh, the survival is easy, but it's hard to enjoy it. I try to keep up with the world. I get papers, listen to the radio, even watch the news, but it's not the same. Sometimes, when the isolation is almost unbearable, I tell myself that what I'm doing is no different than anyone else. We're all trying to hold death at bay, all the time. My way is only a bit more direct.
It must get lonely.
Immensely, but what else can I do?
I guess you're right.
So, Maya, tell me about yourself. It's so rare I get company.
There's not much to tell, really. I was born in Mexico, brought into California when I was too small to walk. I lived here my whole life. It's all I know. I worked at a restaurant. I tried to be a nurse, but hospitals and nursing homes always end up doing background checks.
A nurse? I can assume you're familiar with basic medical techniques?
Some of them. Why? What did you have in mind?
Well, present circumstances being what they are, it's difficult for me to go to a doctor. I can manage most things myself, but, well, it's easiest if I just show you.
Munoz reached up with one hand and slid his sunglasses down the bridge of his nose. There were rings of scarred and scabby skin around his eyes from where the glasses had been pressing into his pale flesh, and as he blinked, thin trails of light blue liquid split between his eyelids. He opened his eyes wide and looked at me. His right eye was a bright, startling blue, but his left was milky and chalk white.
I've been having some trouble seeing out of it lately. At first I thought it was cataracts, but I worry. Do you mind?
It's the least I can do. Here, let me get a little closer. I leaned towards him. And when my arm brushed past his, he flinched. He pulled his arm back, quickly unrolling his sleeve to cover it. And when I looked down at the side of my hand where our skin had touched, there was something slimy, almost plasticine stuck to it.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Are you all right?
Yes, quite. My skin is sensitive, prone to flaking. It's ghastly, I know.
Doesn't look dried out, though. It looks, I don't know, melted. Oozing?
Never you mind. Just see to the eye, my dear. I can handle the skin.
He reached into his pocket for a handkerchief, then wiped the slimy material off my hand and whisked it back into his vest. I could see a dark spot forming on his rolled down sleeve, wet with blood so dark it almost looked black. It doesn't look like cataracts. It's more crystalline, I guess. With the dark skin around it, I'd guess frostbite. It's almost freezer burned.
Thank you, Maya.
Of course. Like I said, it's the least I can do with what you're doing for me. I'm sorry to ask, but as a doctor, shouldn't you know more about medicine than I do?
Surgical medicine was not my area of expertise, a fact which has caused me no end of trouble. Of course, Excuse me, I see to...
Are you okay? Here, let me go get you something to drink.
No, I'm... Don't trouble yourself. Maya!
I ran into the kitchen and over to the sink, then turned the faucet and waited. Nothing came out. I looked around, grabbed a cold glass from the counter, and turned to the large metal refrigerator and pulled it open. I froze, my eyes widening as I took a frightened step back. Inside the fridge were tall cylinders made of metal and glass, and floating in them, suspended in soupy blue liquid, were human organs. Jesus, what the hell?
I told you not to...
Get away from me! What are you? What is this? Are you some kind of serial killer?
No, I told you, I'm a survivor.
Then where did these come from? What are they?
They're mine. I'm sick, Maya. Decaying. Melting, like you said before. And not every part of me has made it through. I replaced as many as I can, but as I said before, I'm not a surgeon.
Then what are you?
A scientist. My aim was the preservation of life, and it still is.
But why?
To conquer death, of course. That's what Franco wanted. He was losing his higher functions to Parkinson's, waking up every morning terrified of what he might lose next. He asked the Junta for solutions, and when they had none, in desperation, he turned to Dr. Torres and I. We were young then, only a few months out of university, pursuing a scientific grant to continue our research. He had read the proposal, and with the technique I've been developing, a rudimentary blend of galvanics and cryogenic dialysis, I think he thought he could live forever.
Franco? You mean Francisco Franco? The Spanish dictator? My grandfather used to talk about him. He's been dead for half a century.
A fact which brings me no shortage of joy. He was a cruel man, and he got what he deserved. It's a strange thing. Fascists and their fear of mortality. They're so afraid of dying, but their ideas never seem to. Justice, compassion, those have expiration dates. But hate? Hate lives on. Help me back into the living room, will you? I'm afraid my knees are growing weak and I left my cane at my seat. I'm not going to hurt you, Maya. I was never going to. Besides, it might not have done me any good. Without extensive tests, I couldn't be sure your organs were compatible.
How do you know that?
Because I've tried. I'll probably try again with that body you brought me, but it never worked for long.
That's why you wanted me to move the body? So you could pick it over like a vulture?
My life doesn't have the luxury of being pleasant. Please, help me to my chair.
Fine. Here, put your arm on my shoulders.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I frightened you, my dear. I only meant to shield you from sharing my pain. The old aches still linger.
It's all right. But if you worked for General Franco, how old are you?
I was born in 1924. So you might say I've just celebrated my centennial.
What? You don't look that old.
No, I dare say I look like a corpse. You see, my heart attack killed me. I died my third week in Los Angeles, or at least I would have. But our process, it preserved me. I haven't aged a day since 1967. Only slowly decayed. It was a long, hot summer, and there were times at Diago that Dr. Torres and I were afraid I wouldn't make it. But much to our delight, the process worked as intended. I even outlived Generalissimo Franco himself. With that, I had the strength to go piss on his grave.
But what happened? Why did you leave Spain at all?
Franco became unnerved by my work, even as he strove to be reliant on it. He was a vain, stupid man, like all fascists. And the process Dr. Torres and I developed wasn't pretty enough. It requires constant, careful maintenance. Over time, even with an artificially slow rate of decay, you have to replace so many parts of yourself that you're barely human. That's what no one likes, you see. The wet, hideous biology of it. When he realized we couldn't give him what he wanted, I started to fear what he might do. We were just like them, marginally. We wore the neatly pressed uniforms and walked in their jack boots, but I knew it wouldn't keep us safe. I had seen the secret police kick in the heads of communists, labor unionists, innocent men and women striving for a better Spain. And Franco himself had no patience for degenerates like Diago and I. They killed the gay poet Lorca, firebombed the Mujeres Libres. I saw friends and colleagues disappear, carted away to his camps and prisons while Catholic priests served their killers communion. Franco thought he was righteous, and there is no act of depravity too low for someone who thinks God is on their side.
I know what you mean.
Yes, I expect you do. You too are hunted by men who go to church on Sundays.
I'm actually a Catholic.
Do you find it brings you comfort?
Not lately.
It brings them comfort. Your oppressors. Diago didn't understand. He always carried his mother's cross, even after she disowned him. And when we were discovered, beaten, and imprisoned, Diago prayed for deliverance, while I bribed a guard for falsified passports. On our way to America, we talked about leaving Los Angeles and finding our way to San Francisco. Diago knew someone there, some old lover or something. And he assured us that if there was anywhere in America we'd be safe, it would be there. Then, I had my heart attack. And by using our process to save my life, I smothered our dreams like a pillow to a child. But he was always faithful, always loving, even as he grew older and I stayed the same. We had 20 good years before his stroke. And as he was dying, knowing he was dying, he begged me not to try to preserve his life. There are still parts of him inside me, pieces I cling to the way he clung to the cross as he died. And when I feel his heart beat in my chest or his stomach shift, it's like he never left. It's like we're still together. And that is true religion. That is real. We are real. And God is a fantasy for the cruel and stupid. It's been said more eloquently by better men than me. But in the iron grip of a fascist, religion is more than just the opiate of the masses. The dictator uses it to beat the war drum. The killers use it to wash the blood off their hands. And the rest of us use it to pretend that there's a reason for it all. But there isn't. There's nothing. Just howling in the dark. Just violence and death and survivors left alone.
Dr. Munoz, I know you've been hurt. And I can't understand how hard it must have been being alone for all these years. But with respect, I don't need you to tell me how bad things are. I know how bad things are. I've seen footage of those detention centers on the news. I've read the stories of what goes on inside. Under the American flag. Under God. My mother is in one of those camps, if she's even still alive.
I'm so sorry.
But I have to face it. I can't just hope it doesn't choose me as a target. I don't have that luxury. Didn't you see it coming? The instability, the fear, the hate, even in your air conditioning, couldn't you feel it? Why did you let it happen again?
I didn't.
You saw evil up close, participated in it, and you ran away. I can't blame you for that. You've had it rough ever since. I can't blame you for that either. But you sat on the sidelines while people just like Franco rose to power here. Maybe they're not wearing the armbands and jackboots yet, but a concentration camp is a concentration camp. In a decade or two, if the fever breaks, people will find the bodies. And when the news starts reporting exactly how much evil was done in America's name, its people will act like they couldn't have known what they were warned about over and over, what they cheered for. When you saw the early signs, heard the old rhetoric coming from new mouths, you must have known.
I'm one fragile man. What could I have done?
Anything! You could have written a book, done an interview. Hell, you could have shouted it out your window.
No one would have listened.
You don't know that. And even if they didn't, you have a responsibility to people like me, to my mother. I know you've been hurt, but you've been where we are now, and you abandoned us to the same man who victimized you.
I let you in, didn't I?
You did, and I owe you for it. But it's not enough, Hector. The books aren't balanced just because you hid one person from the new secret police. You should have warned us. But you were afraid, weren't you? afraid of what it would mean. You didn't want to make yourself a target again. After all, there's nothing fascists hate more than people who know what they are. And you're so weak now. Someone could break in, destroy that machine downstairs that keeps your climate control prison nice and cool. Then what? You'd be at risk, the same way we are. Maybe you die, the same way that we are. Thank you for letting me in, Doctor. But I've taken enough of your time.
No, please, you can't. What if they're still out there?
Then they'll chase me. Probably find me. Maybe I'll be beaten, tortured, killed, and maybe no one will know. But I can't sit here forever, not the way you do.
Please, just wait a little longer, just until it's safe.
Safe? You've been here 50 years. When's it ever going to be safe? You said Franco was afraid of death, but you're the one sitting here cowering. I hope you're comfortable. For you, it's always winter. But for the rest of us, for the living, life outside is a long, hot summer, and we need to help each other.
Don't leave. I can pay you. I need a nurse to help with the surgeries. You can stay downstairs if you don't like the cold.
I can't. Maybe I should, but I can't. You made me understand. I have a responsibility to everyone that's been lost. To everyone still at risk. For you and Tiago, understand?
But they'll catch you.
But I'll have been free first. One last thing, Doctor. Food for thought. What good is living forever if all it means is that you watch people make the same mistakes that you did? As I left his frozen apartment and started down the stairs heading for the door that led out into the street, I felt sorry for the man I was leaving behind. He was so alone, so frightened, and so convinced it was the only way to keep living. I stopped at the front door and listened, trying to make out the sounds of drawn guns or idling engines. I wasn't sure where I'd go, but I had the feeling I could find my way. I opened the door and stepped out into the narrow alley, then sighed and felt the warm sun hit my skin. It felt like a dream now, or some fairy tale. My visit with the Ice King. But the real world was waiting, and I couldn't keep myself out of it anymore. Jesus!
Thought you must have ducked into a building somewhere. Figured I'd wait. Figured a 2x4 to the head might slow you down some, too. Guess I was right twice.
Are you this nice to everyone?
Just the ones that run. I gotta tell you, though, these are the ones I really enjoy. You know, my partner seems to have up and vanished. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you? That's okay. Just means there's no witnesses. Nobody to argue when I say you came at me with a knife.
I don't have a...
I told you before. You've got no rights in this country, and you've got no right to this country. You're just a stray, a wild dog. And some dogs, they just gotta be kicked. That's the only way they learn, you see? If you don't punish them, they don't know how to stay the fuck in line.
Please, you're gonna kill me.
Oh, that'd be a problem solved, now wouldn't it?
I closed my eyes and covered my head with my hands, waiting for him to hit me again. Then, almost imperceptibly, I felt a sudden wisp of cool air run across the back of my neck.
Don't you touch her!
This is government business, sir. Why don't you just... What the fuck?
I rolled over, just in time to see Dr. Munoz raise his cane, then twist it at the base and pull it apart into 2 pieces. He tossed aside the silver casing and raised the long, thin sword inside, adjusting his grip on the handle as he took a frail fencing stance. His pale, opaque skin was almost glittering in the sunlight, and even through his black sunglasses, I could detect a hint of confident malice in his eyes.
What are you? Don't move! Drop the sword and get on the ground, now, or I'll shoot!
Do it! You'll only kill a dead man.
The agent went for his gun, and Munoz lunged forward, slicing open the man's hand with shocking speed and grace. He twirled the blade and shot it forward again, cutting up the man's pant leg to his knee, then pressed the blade in at the kneecap.
Ah, crazy fuck!
Look out! He's... Munoz looked down at the bullet hole in his chest, where a trickle of dark blue blood was starting to drip down the front of his shirt. Then he looked back up at the agent, and a smile crept across his glistening face.
I'd run if I were you. And tell your friends, this girl has my protection.
As soon as the agent was out of sight, Munoz slumped down and fell to his knees, leaning on his sword cane to hold himself up. He put a clammy hand over the bullet hole in his chest, then looked over as I got up and flashed a faint smile, while drops of blue sweat rolled down the side of his face.
You'd better go too, Maya. They'll be back, better armed and less well-mannered. I spared his life for you. I hope you appreciate the gesture.
Are you going to be all right? How do you feel?
A bit cold.
He toppled and fell into a nearby garbage can, then took in a ragged breath as he pulled himself up against the wall of the alley. His skin was dripping now, see-through and almost melting, and his breath was billowing out in thick puffs of steam. He slid his sunglasses down the brim of his nose, and I could see frozen tears melting into liquid at the edges of his eyes.
I think I'm finished, Mika.
You saved my life. Again.
I only did what any good man would have done. You can judge me for the life I've led. Call me a freak and a murderer. But I am not a coward. Any more than the man downstairs was dead before I cut his throat. Don't let it haunt you, Maya. You didn't kill him. He started to stir almost as soon as you climbed the stairs. I punctured his windpipe. He drowned before he knew what happened to him. All things considered, it was a mercy. So, it wasn't true what you said before about you owing me. I was the one with the debt. I hope now that you'll consider us even.
What about your work?
It doesn't matter. Not anymore. I destroyed my notes years ago, and there's only so much anyone can reverse engineer from my machines. Soon enough, I'll be a puddle on the sidewalk. Not enough to be studied, only mopped up and forgotten. Just go, Maya. Live your life the way I couldn't.
Gracias, doctor. He weakly nodded, then slumped over and went silent. As I watched, his last frosted breath slid silently out of his mouth and drifted up past the fire escapes into the cloudless sky. I stood there another minute, watching as his body liquefied and layers of flesh sloughed off in soggy pieces. He was free now, or at least I hoped he was. Hopefully he and Tiago found each other out there in all that dark. All I know for sure is that I still think of him. He had given me another chance, show me the kind of person I didn't want to let myself become. And maybe if I could keep running, keep fighting, maybe I could help someone else get through it. And if all this ended, if I made it through the worst of it and lived long enough to see the cycle start back up again in 40 or 50 years, maybe I'd be able to stop it before it happened the next time. But maybe is a cold comfort.
Cool Air was written and directed by Jonathan Inbody, and adapted from the short story of the same name by H.P. Lovecraft. It was edited by Jeffrey Lavin, with music composed and performed by Samantha Hunt. Maya, the narrator, was played by Joe O'Donnell. Dr. Munoz was played by Sean C. Sanders, and the Ice Agent was played by Jonathan Inbody.
Gray Matter is a Word Search Media production. Any similarities to real people, places, or things is purely coincidental.
If you like the show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And support us at patreon.com/graymatterhorror.
Be kind. Rewind.